Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Other Choice, a podcast by Right to Life of Michigan. Today's host is Amber Roseboom, president of Right to Life of Michigan. She is joined by Barry Borsenik, the state deputy of the Michigan Knights of Columbus. They discuss their ongoing partnership in Standing for Life and the upcoming Michigan March for Life, which takes place on November 6th.
Well, we're thrilled to have Barry Borsenik with us today to talk about our second Michigan March for Life, which takes place on Thursday, November 6th, beginning on the state capitol along with a rally at 11 a.m., then the march at noon. Barry is the state deputy for the Michigan Knights of Columbus. We rely heavily on the partnership with the Knights for not only this event and logistics of the day, but throughout the year. Our partnership extends from the state leadership level through all the local councils and our local Right to Life in Michigan affiliates. It's invaluable in our state for Standing for Life. Barry, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Will you kick us off just by sharing why the Michigan March for Life is so important to you personally and to the Knights of Columbus?
Well, my pleasure, Amber, and thanks for inviting me. I'm blessed to represent over 64,000 Knights of Columbus here in the state of Michigan. And as the state deputy, I have the opportunity to witness so many good works done by our brother Knights and their families. And this rally is just an extension of the many things that our men do in the cause for life. And it's it's intertwined essentially with our Catholic identity and the protection of life from conception to natural death. And this event is just an exciting, evolution of our many-year effort of going to Washington, D.C. and fighting for the cause on an interstate level. To now turning our focus, since the Supreme Court decision has pushed it back on the states, to turning our focus here in Michigan to try and influence and affect changes in culture, in our local society, and ultimately to change laws.
Well said. I've so enjoyed getting to know you and Ed Strock and so many of the Knights that our local affiliates work with. The way that you characterize that and just your commitment to the issue is so inspiring to me, and I think will be inspiring to our listeners as they hear it. You brought up such a good point. When Roe was overturned, it sent the issue back to the states and also our representatives, our elected representatives. And in Michigan, as you know, Proposal 3 legalized abortion up until birth for any reason. But we know, and you hear me say this a lot, for choice to exist, women must have every opportunity to make a choice for life. And what that means from our vantage point is it's so critically important that we present women in our culture more broadly with the truth about abortion, how we do it matters, in love and compassion, and then we make them aware of support that exists to help each woman facing an unplanned pregnancy make a beautiful, hopeful choice for life. And when I think about the march and what I hope people walk away with, the march is a visual demonstration of the pro-life community in Michigan, a visual to women that they're not alone, that we really truly stand with them when they face an unplanned pregnancy. No women should ever feel that abortion is the only or even the best option. And so you see that day two, there'll be a number of pregnancy resource center representatives on the stage, which we're so excited about. We have a nurse from a PRC who'll be talking. We have a young woman who chose life. And Barry, I know the Knights, part of your legacy, part of your commitment to this issue is putting ultrasounds at various locations across the state, and I know across the country. Can you talk to us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, certainly. It's a wonderful program, but the basis of it, the foundation of it goes back to the beginning of our organization, founded in 1882 by Blessed Father Michael McGivney. And one of the things he asked his brother knights to do is take care of widows and orphans and to help the needy and the outcast. And when you consider the helplessness of an unborn child, the beauty of the technology of an ultrasound to show the humanity, to show the living being that an unborn child is just a beautiful way for us to encourage women and men who have a choice to make. Um,
I'm glad you
some of
said
us,
that. I'm glad you added that. That's such an important point. And
yeah,
men, thank you.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and fathers can't be left out of this discussion.
Absolutely.
But we're, on a selfish level, I sometimes say there is no choice. There's only one choice. But the reality is, society has taught us otherwise, and a lot of women have a view that there are different choices, but we want life to be the right choice that they make. And the ultrasound machine is just an
Absolutely.
incredible tool. And coming up in another, I think a week from now, we are doing the 102nd installation and blessing of an ultrasound machine here in the state of Michigan.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yeah, it's countless lives that we've been able to impact with that technology. And that's local fundraising done by councils and districts, supported by matching funds from our Supreme Knights of Columbus, to put a very expensive piece of equipment into use in most of our communities throughout Michigan.
Absolutely. That's so exciting. One thing it makes me think about too, Barry, as you talk about that, is I was talking with, Jim Sprague
Yeah.
over at PRCGR. Yeah, he's the state director of MICO. It's an association of pregnancy resource centers. And he told me that the first voice to reach a woman when she's facing an unplanned pregnancy is the one that she'll listen to in more than 80% of the cases. And when you think about our efforts, not just to reach the woman, but then when she comes in to show her life through the ultrasound, what an incredible way to save lives and really reshape the debate for life. And I think the ultrasound has done that. And what the Knights have done is just, it really is incredible. Well, that is one aspect of the day, as you know, and I just want to give a quick shout out to His Excellency Bishop Boye from the Diocese of Lansing, who will be kicking off the rally with an invocation, and then some of the other speakers. I won't list them all, but Chuck Gatica is our MC, the president of the National March for Life, Jenny Bradley Lichter, who I worked with at Catholic University for a time, will also be with us. Myra Rodriguez, a former Planned Parenthood clinic manager, Pastor Don Eason. I'm very excited for the lineup. But one person I didn't mention yet, Barry, is you'll be leading the entire group in the Pledge of Allegiance that day. What does that mean for you?
Well, I'm just excited about the lineup of speakers. I mean, it's an incredible roster of people to witness, to tell their story from a variety of perspectives, and it surely will be very inspirational and somewhat practical as well. So the fact that I get to start it off with the pledge is just a reinforcement of another aspect of knighthood, and it's patriotism, and it's our belief that knights should not just be good Catholics, but they should also be good citizens. And part of our pledge is reinforcing our liberties and our freedom. And while that gives us choice, it also comes with responsibility.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so this is just a great opportunity for my brother knights and their families to come out and join this event. And it's not a Knights of Columbus event. This is a statewide event, and Amber, with your cooperation, we've grown a coalition of organizations and people that are supporting this, and it's just it's going to be a very inspiring day, and Bishop Boyer is always a strong voice for religious liberty and freedom and the protection of life. So He actually, there's a 9:30 mass at the cathedral, at St. Mary Cathedral in Lansing.
That's great.
For those that wish to start the day with prayer, and then we'll convene at the state capitol for the, I guess we've got a little pre-event activity, and then the event kicks off fully at 11 o'clock.
That's great. That I'm happy that you mentioned the mass too. And in addition to, you talked about we have this larger coalition. It's not even just Right to Life of Michigan and the Knights, or the National March for Life. There's a whole host of different groups, but from the Catholic Church, talk about um, the larger group that the Knights represent. I know all the dioceses are participating, number of schools. Catholic school from Detroit will be leading the march, holding that entry banner. So huge representation there, which we're really excited about. As I was thinking about our discussion today, and I was thinking about some of the recent events, some negative, the death of Charlie Kirk, the
Sure.
attack on the church in Grand Blanc. These things are people of courage, but the events like this, they weigh heavily on people, as they should. And
It's troubling.
absolutely, absolutely. And so one of the things, I know Ed had mentioned this, and I know that this is important to you, but that we wanted to also talk about today was just one, the march is always a peaceful event.
Yes.
Absolutely. But that we, as the organizations, the coalition planning for the march, have paid special attention to security, in an abundance of caution, always. Right to Life Michigan, the National March, you, Ed Strock, and the Knights. We have been coordinating with all the law enforcement agencies who have jurisdiction over this area, and there are many. And while we've been assured that there's, at this time, there's no heightened risk to the event, they do take the security incredibly serious, which we appreciate. Any large crowd rightly prompts a higher level of attention from law enforcement, but it does bring to mind again, we so often talk about courage. I remember when Barb transitioned this role to me almost 2 years ago at this point, last January, something that she always talked about was courage. And I'm just reminded of the importance of that, and scripture teaches us about courage, and where do we find courage? When you think about that in the context, maybe even more broadly, of what you all do as Knights in a very public setting, service in your communities, and this event, what does it mean to you? What would you say to people?
Well, first of all, I just want to echo what you have said about the attention to security. And I know the organizers have been working with local law enforcement and beyond to try and prepare for this event. But that said, let's be honest. This battle is a fight between good and evil, between right and wrong. And we are called to step into the breach, which is an exhortation by Bishop Olmsted of Phoenix. And it's a beautiful discussion about the importance of men doing what men are supposed to do and standing up for good and fighting against evil and doing the thing that's hard. And we often call ourselves as Knights men of action. And Father McGivney, our founder, didn't say, be men of action when it's convenient. He didn't say, do it if it's easy. Some of the things that we do are hard. And this is a time to be courageous, because it's the effort to do the thing that's hard. It's the impact that something like this event can create that will change public opinion.
Yeah.
And it's important that we show our unity and our force within our numbers. The whole reason we rally, the whole reason that we want people to come together for an event like this is to show the power of these silent numbers of people who believe a certain way or who will fight for a cause, but don't often do it in a public sphere. This is a chance for every single one of them who believes in this to come together and to let our voice be heard. And there's a lot of conversations going on right now, as you said, with some of the recent events that have happened throughout our nation and even locally. I've had numerous calls and emails from Brother Knights asking, what can we do?
Wow.
Or offering suggestions of, this is what I think we should do. And there's a lot of dialogue and proactive efforts being taken by knights within their parishes, within their Catholic schools, um, and just learning to be vigilant and learning to be prepared, but also to encourage each other to be courageous, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what I ask of everybody, to have the courage that a young pregnant woman has to face a tough decision and to go do something that's uncomfortable or scary because she knows it's right or is open to making a good decision. And if we can't stand behind someone that needs our help like that, then we're not up to the challenge. But I think it's important, and I think our faithful, our members, our families that are available to come out on November 6th for this event have the ability to make a difference. And you'll see the love and the strength in our common effort to promote life. What there's a lot worse things that we could protest or gather and assemble and talk about as a group.
Absolutely.
But we're gathering to talk about protecting life.
Absolutely. Barry, I so appreciate your insights and your commitment to this and your leadership. I hope everyone listening will join us at the march on November 6th. I do want to refer people to rtl.org if they're looking for information on it. But Barry, do you have anything else that you'd like to add? I thought it was a great discussion. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you have so much on your plate, but if there's anything else that you'd like to add.
No, just a shout out to my state director, Ed and Lynn Strock, who do so much behind the scenes, but also the dozens of Brother Knights who will be volunteering at this event for traffic control and directing our dignitaries and just helping keep things in order. An organization like this takes leadership, but it also takes the workers. And my Brother Knights have stepped up again and will continue to be there to support and make this event bigger than it was the first time. And hopefully we continue to grow this and make it an even more powerful statement.
Absolutely, I agree. And I want to give a shout out to Ed too. We say this, and I think, sometimes when you compliment people, your inclination, at least my inclination, is to feel like, oh, that's an overstatement. But we could not do the march without the Knights. No question. And the work that Ed does and his team to coordinate all the buses coming in to the city that day and all the outflow of the buses and traffic. I mean, we had 0 complaints 2 years ago, and that was with thousands of people in that city in a very confined space. So we're looking forward to another great march this year. I'm excited to see you all there.
Sure. And there is information also available on mikofc.org. That's our state website. And Ed's contact information is there as well if someone needs to get in touch with him about a particular need or request.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Barry. I hope you have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Amber. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Other Choice. To learn more about Right to Life of Michigan, please visit us at rtl.org or like us on Facebook at Right to Life of Michigan.